aka Patters, for Veterans Day. And don't forget, Tony DeLuca, aka my father, Big Pops, Big Tony D, was a Vietnam veteran. Born on the 4th of July was not one of our Vietnam household movies. I would give that to Hamburger Hill and Full Metal Jacket. I wish I understood more about this movie. I wish I experienced it a little bit more. I wish I had different eyes so I could share this movie with my father. And I kind of understand from his perspective why this was a hard movie to watch. This movie is as hard and frustrating to watch as Schindler's List, also a 90s movie. Born on the 4th of July is directed by Oliver Stone. It stars Tom Cruise. Music by John Williams. Cinematography by Robert Richardson. If you love Carnage, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, this is your guy. He's also Quentin Tarantino go-to. This movie is perfect from frame to frame, scene to scene, beginning to end. There is nothing to change. There's nothing to rearrange. So today, in observance of Veterans Day, we're going to discuss Oliver Stone's Born on the 4th of July. Let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Action!
I feel like every single time we discuss any Oliver Stone movie, we get into Robert Richardson. This is our cinematographer, as you heard in the intro. His work in this, the golden hour tragedy, when Tom Cruise's character, real life activist, a true activist. Today, the word activist, the title activist, gets thrown around. I mean, everyone you see on TV is an activist. The screenplay is co-written by Ron Kovic. This is the guy that the movie's based on. He wrote the movie with Oliver Stone, and they made the movie, and the guy's there. A lot of what you see in Ben Stiller's Tropic Thunder, that the author of a Vietnam book is often on set or throughout the entire production. It's based on this. The production of Born on the 4th of July is lampooned in Tropic Thunder. We forget this. I think a generation of people missed that connection. I don't know what Ben Stiller's ever said about the matter. Ron Kovic is a true American activist. We hit the golden hour, and Tom Cruise basically gets flash cut into a veterans hospital, and immediately we're sick into our stomach, we're pissed, we're mad. This is the control of our emotions in its purest sense. The beginning is the American way of life. It's the town that Robert grew up in. It's one of the great credit sequences I can never recall, because it sets the stage and immediately gives us a story. A lot of times, I think out of geekdom and cinephiling, we'll put Wolverine Origin, The Watchmen, Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie. We'll put those movies up there as great title sequences. And they are equally effective. It's different when it's drama. And this is why we have to hold dramas to a totally different standard. For the Academy Awards of this year, the 62nd Academy Awards, 1990. This is the year, this might be the first fracturing of the Academy. Because Driving Miss Daisy comes out of nowhere, gets a couple awards, steals a lot of this momentum away as the night went on for Born on the 4th of July. Oliver Stone gets Best Director, but he doesn't get Best Picture. Whenever this doesn't happen, it baffles everyone. It is far more common in today's Academy than back then. At this time, this was historic. This was only a handful of times that Best Director and Best Picture were split. Daniel Day-Lewis, in a movie that no one watches right now, but he is Daniel Day-Lewis, and you have to say he's great. He wins for My Left Foot. Tom Cruise is also up against Kenneth Branagh for Henry V. He's up against Morgan Freeman for Driving Miss Daisy. He's even up against Robin Williams for Dead Poets Society. But he loses. I believe he wins the Golden Globe. Tom Cruise's Golden Globe, one of 3, I believe he has. I'm going from memory here, my AKA powders. He returned those because the Golden Globes and the Hollywood Press Association didn't have enough diversity, so Tom Cruise gave them back in protest. And he did that quite some time ago, too. Tom Cruise was way ahead of this progressive virus that infected Hollywood. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying this is what he did. The music is by John Williams. We know him from anything Star Wars or Steven Spielberg. This is John Williams. You kind of want to say, what John Williams do you want more of? The Steven Spielberg John Williams or the Oliver Stone John Williams? You would, right here, right now, I will say this. I will take the Oliver Stone John Williams any day of the week. The horns, the theme horns for this movie. And when they hit, when Tom Cruise is in that golden hour tragedy, the mix-up at the village, and he's on his knees because he just friendly fired someone. He just killed a fellow soldier. He know he did it, but later he'll be told to move on. It's as good as a moment as Luke Skywalker looking into his sunset in Star Wars New Hope. This movie's going to jump into frustration mode. If you watch this movie and you don't feel for what the Vietnam vets went through, and my father went through some of this. My father always had issues with how they were treated when they came back. My father fought with the VA his entire life to get what he felt like he was deserved because of injuries, because of potential Agent Orange testing. A lot of stuff. But it took my father his whole life. And he got it. And we were good. He somewhat rebounded as an individual. It was life-changing for him. But when you're there and you see what this war did, you understand the generation that never wants to go into another war ever again. And war at that point was forever repackaged. Just look at the Gulf War. This movie is an absolute masterpiece. Best Original Score, Little Mermaid, beats out Born on the 4th of July. Field of Dreams, James Horner. John Williams nominated twice, Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. I mean, any of these movies can win. Any of them. Best Cinematography, Glory, not Born on the 4th of July. Blaze, The Abyss, Fabulous Baker Boys. Fabulous Baker Boys all over the 90 Oscars. So from here we get Forrest Gump, Silence of the Lambs, Schindler's List, Braveheart. The films, this era ends with Ridley Scott's Gladiator. There's a lot to take in with this movie. But you have to sit down and you have to watch it. And you have to watch it every time and again. Everything put to the side. If you think Oliver Stone is a crazy conspiracist, hey, makes the movie more enjoyable. If you think Tom Cruise is a crazy Scientologist, hey, makes the movie more enjoyable. But you, as an audience member, should be able to sit down and separate the two. Do a brain dump. Release yourself. Sit down to be entertained and to gain some knowledge. The best movies in the world teach us. They show us things. Born on the 4th of July is in a class of its own. I had such a moving experience with this movie this time. I want to say this is it. This is one of the greatest war movies I can think of, because it's so deeply personal. And I'm talking about Kovac. I'm talking about the person Tom Cruise portrays, Ron Kovac. Because you feel Kovac in this movie. And it's sad. It's gut-wrenching. It's got some of the best panicked war scenes of all time. It really does. I mean, some people like to go to casualties of war, but the absolute confusion of what some of these skirmishes were like in Vietnam, it's insane. And you feel it here. This movie is worthy of anyone's time. So, as your film buff, it's available right now on Tubi. Tubi. Download the app. It's available everywhere. Free. It's free. You have a couple commercials. Not a big deal. But make your way through those commercials and watch this movie. Alright, AKA Padders. Today's an important one. Veterans Day always hits home for me. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.